We're getting a huge Sims update today, and I realize I say that like every single time, but the thing is, anything free feels big, but the pre-expansion pack updates are always actually huge. These aren't just any old update because we usually get a ton of new free content on top of all of the bug fixes. It can be a little bit confusing around pack release time because it's like, okay, well, what's free, what's paid in the pack? So in this video, we're gonna go through everything coming for free in today's base game update. I'm also gonna link the patch notes down below in case you wanna read through everything for yourself. And I think we should start in CAS because Create a Sim is getting the most new stuff today. First of all, there's a handful of new hairs coming in this base game update. This is the first one, and we knew about this one already because they had teased it a few months ago. You might remember that collab that the Sims team did with Dark and Lovely and Ebonix called Play in Color. We got the first couple hairstyles back in April, and now this is the last one. There's actually two variants. We have this solid color version and also a dyed version, and I can show you all of those swatches really quickly because I think it looks really, really nice. It's also really cool to finally see this hair in game after they've been teasing it for a few months because they had showed us concept art and stuff a while ago, and now it's actually here and real. I'll link this down below too, but as a fan of The Sims, it's really cool to see this post and then see it actually come to life in the game. So that's the first of a handful of new hairstyles because we also got this new shorter bob hairstyle. This one's pretty simple. It's just a short bob, but it's kind of wavy. Honestly, this is kind of what I wish my hair looks like in real life. My hair is just so straight. It doesn't really do stuff like this or even hold waves like this, but it's nice to have, and I hate to say it, but it is a serious improvement from some of the other shorter hairs that we have in the base game. And then they kind of redid one of the base game ponytails. I think this one is supposed to be an update on this hair, but we still have both versions. You can just tell that the texture on this is like 1,000 times worse, but this is the new hair that we're talking about. So it's kind of like a short, low ponytail. Honestly, we haven't really gotten much like this in a long time, so I'm pretty pleased to see this hair, especially in the base game. It doesn't really have like any special swatches or hair dye or anything. It just comes in all the default swatches, but it is a pretty cute style. And both of those hairs are available for children. So the kids got both of these as well, which is always nice because the kids are really lacking in the hairstyle department. Oh, and they're available for toddlers too. I did not realize that. This one looks a little bit off at the hairline. There's like something kind of strange happening on the forehead, but both of these are also available for toddlers. And toddlers are also really lacking in the hairstyle department, so that's big. Back onto the adult Sims for a second, there is an entire new category in the makeup section for eyelashes. And as of today, the base game is getting two new eyelash styles. There's this slightly heavier version with top and bottom lashes and a more simple just top lash version. I really like that they did this because I feel like it kind of shows them seeing what the community is already doing and then being like, hey, we can help you with that, because so many people use custom content eyelashes, and there are some really beautiful CC eyelashes out there, but most times because there's not an eyelash category, people have to use them as like glasses or as rings. Sometimes there'll be a nail polish, but it like adds to your eyes instead, because they have to put it in some sort of category, so they're kind of just putting it wherever it might fit. And that can be kind of annoying because if you've got eyelashes but they're a ring, then you can't wear a ring on that hand because you're already wearing one, but it's eyelashes. So all of that to say, it's really cool to have a new eyelash category. That does mean that I think a lot of the eyelashes are gonna be broken when this update comes out. So creators are gonna have to go back and fix them, or at least make a new version that works for the makeup. So it will be an annoying few weeks trying to get all of that stuff fixed, but like long term, it's gonna be huge to have. Plus now it's a base game category. They could make more eyelashes themselves in the future, in future packs and stuff. And you might be noticing this new little button that says apply eyelashes to all outfits, and you can click that now and it will automatically add the makeup or whatever you have clicked to every single outfit. It also just glitched my hair. That's weird. But this is like a magic new button because you can click that and you can apply something to all of the outfits all at once just by clicking this, or you can go through and select individually. So maybe I'm doing my Sims makeup and I want to add her blush to most of her outfits, but not all of them. I can just select the boxes that I want to use and then apply it all at once, and it will automatically do that makeup to the other outfit categories. And you can use this for pretty much anything. You can do it for makeup, hairs, accessories, clothing. I feel like most often I'll probably use it for stuff like glasses and piercings because it's so annoying to want to have your sim wear the same glasses for all their outfits, but then have to go through and like do it individually every single time. But now you can just do it with one button. This is such a huge change. Anybody who plays The Sims a lot is gonna be like dying over this. I feel like I've been wanting that for so long, but I didn't think they would ever actually actually do it. So when I first saw that in CAS, it was like, okay, life made, day made. This is a complete game changer. There's a couple of other new smaller things in CAS. Like for example, they've given us 1 million new base game nail polishes, and I'm not kidding when I say 1 million. I think before the base game just had these 4 variants, but now we've got a ton of extra options. There's different links, different styles, different colors, even stuff like this, because before we had these pride nails, but only in 2 different lengths. And now we have this longer version and a different texture, like matte version of them. So you can really, really customize your Sims nails now. And we've got new toenail polish for the first time, because we used to only have this one version, but now we have the pride swatches for toes, and then we also have 2 other variants. There's like another set of different colors, and then kind of like a nude version as well. This is one of those things that I don't even think I realized I wanted until I had it, because I guess it was annoying to only have a couple of nail polish swatches for their toes, but like it's so small that I don't really think about it that often. So now we've got all of these extra variants, and I wasn't expecting that in this update. So that's all of the new CAS assets, but you might have seen a couple of other new gameplay features in Create a Sim from my early access videos. Unfortunately, all of those turn-ons and turn-offs that you were seeing, that's one of the major new pack features of Lovestruck. So that's not base game, but there are a couple of new things. So you could always set relationships in Create a Sim, but there's a new category now. Before, you could set family relationships like siblings and parents in Create a Sim, and you could also set people to be married or engaged. But now you can set them to just be partners. And they also updated this to have more gender neutral language. So before it said fiance and wife, but now it says engaged and spouse. They've also updated that in game with the interaction name. So instead of saying asked to be girlfriend, it says asked to be partner. And this is huge because across the board, they've been really trying to update The Sims 4 to have more gender neutral language. And I think this is a huge step to make the game a little bit more inclusive. Of course, there's still some problems, like there's still plenty of grammar issues with custom pronouns. I'm pretty sure it still says birthday girl instead of birthday sim when you're hosting a party. But baby steps, right? They're at least trying. And I'm really excited to have partners in CAS now. That's a huge help for setting up households quickly. And then the other final thing in CAS that's a pretty big deal is this new romantic boundaries tab. So we already had the gender and sexual orientation options in CAS, but now we have romantic boundaries as well. And these are settings to define how your sim experiences jealousy. So you can decide if your sim feels jealous if any romantic partner engages in non-physical romance, in physical romance like kissing, and also in woohoo with other Sims. And then you can also decide if those triggers can change by talking about it. So you can maybe say, hey, my Sim doesn't care if their partner flirts with somebody else, but they do care if they woohoo with someone else, and they're not open to changing that boundary. Or maybe a different Sim doesn't care about any of those things, and they won't feel jealous at all if their partner does it. And just like the other 2 tabs, you could change this really easily in CAS at any time. And this is gonna be huge for storytelling and also for representation, because before you couldn't really have any sort of poly relationship because your Sims would get jealous and then it would cause issues. But this way you have a little bit more control over when and how that jealousy happens. It just makes for a lot more realistic relationships and more realistic Sims. And you also just don't have to touch this because by default it'll say yes and Sims will all still feel jealous by default. But if you want to, you can adjust it. Sort of like how a sexual orientation, by default most Sims are attracted to everybody, but if you want to, you can change it. And I'm pretty sure that when new Sims and like new randomized Sims spawn, they can have different options for these things. So we'll have to test that out a little bit more in gameplay and kind of see how it goes. I'm just gonna give these Sims some randomized traits real quick so we can pop into game and I can show you a couple of more things. And while I'm loading in here, this might be a good time to tell you a little bit about our big fundraiser this weekend. I've been trying to organize a huge fundraising event for the Palestine Children's Relief Fund this weekend in celebration of the new expansion pack coming out. We're calling it Simmers for Palestine, and the idea is to get as many people involved in helping us fundraise as possible. And that can take many forms, just from helping to share and amplify the fundraising link to maybe hosting your own charity fundraiser. So I'm gonna be doing a huge fundraiser all weekend on my Twitch streams, and I'm gonna link the donation page down below in case you want to donate. But I'm also gonna put some information on how to get involved if maybe you're a creator yourself, or if you wanted to share it with other creators. I would really appreciate any help in getting involved. There's actually over 100 people signed up to fundraise on our Tiltify right now, and we've already raised $73,000, and we haven't really technically even started yet. So thank you again in advance for all of your support with this. And let's keep talking Sims real quick. So there's a couple couple of changes in game as well. They're still trying to do a whole bunch to reorganize this pie menu of interactions, and the newest thing here is this relationship category, and this is meant to be an easy way to access all of those relationship settings. So they've put things like having a science baby, proposing, breaking up, all of those big changes underneath one category so it's easier to find. You can also view your relationship panel from here, so it's easy to open this up. And there's a couple big new buttons like learn more to ask about romantic boundaries. You can also change the relationship, so you can ask to be woohoo partners, ask to just be friends. And once you've asked about boundaries, you can also ask to change them. So when I asked her just then, it told me what will trigger jealousy, but it also said she's open to reconsidering. So I can try to change relationship and I can ask to reconsider those boundaries, and I can ask her to accept maybe non-physical romance, like flirting and stuff. And then she reconsiders, and now she'll no longer feel jealousy if she sees her partner flirting with someone else, for example. The whole distinction between like physical and non-physical romance is kind of confusing, but think like this physical intimacy category, this is physical romance versus like flirtation and maybe affection, that's non-physical romance. And get this, you can also remove Sims from the relationship panel now. So say you have a Sim that you hate and you just do not want to see their face. You can click on them and you can hide the relationship. It gives you a warning like, hey, are you sure you want to do that? The relationship doesn't change, they just won't show up in that panel anymore, and then if you see them again, it comes up again. So I can do that and I can make Nancy go away. This is going to be a huge help, not so much for like clearing up Sims like Nancy Landgrab, but for me, I play a lot of legacy challenges and there's like a million ghosts that my Sims know. I'm gonna hide all those ghosts now so my panel's less cluttered. Or like in my 100 baby challenge, I've had kids with like 60 people. I can now get rid of all of those men and have them not show up anymore, because I can't even find my own kids when I'm looking because I know so many people. And then if I talk to her again, I'm pretty sure it just shows right back up. Yeah, see, so it's easy to get back if you need to. It's not like permanent. I don't know how true this is, but they also claim they've made some date improvements in the base game. Obviously, one of the main parts of the pack, did she just say no? Hold on. One of the main parts of the pack is the whole new date system. So the base game doesn't have all of those cool new custom date options. It still just has regular dates, but they claim they made some improvements behind the scenes to make the dates run better. One of those being that they tried to tune it so other Sims will interrupt you less often if you're on a date. Because you know how sometimes if you're just hanging out talking to your partner, there's like other Sims that try to get involved in your conversation? Apparently that's meant to happen less often. In my experience, because I've had the update for a couple weeks now on this version of the game, it still happens. It just supposedly happens less often. You can see I'm playing with this weird version of the game right now that has the watermark and also no gallery access. That's because technically the update does not come out for like 20 more minutes in real life, but I was showing you now so I can get the video out faster. But the last major new gameplay feature is a new setting for neighborhood stories. So before, we had this whole configuration to set up things that other townies can do autonomously, and there's two new options. Now you can have romance changes and also friendship changes selected. So with this, Sims may make friends and either nurture or damage their friendship, and with romance changes, Sims may start romance and either nurture or damage their relationship. So before, if they were already partners, they could choose to adopt kids and have kids, but they couldn't like get their own partner autonomously. Now they can make more updates that way on their own. It's important to note that you're gonna have to remember to update these on your own because by default, this stuff doesn't really turn on. So when you make a new save file, make sure you go through and enable them. I am really curious to play with that more and see how it affects everything because that has been one of my #1 requests for this game for years. Ever since that update first came out, I've wanted that so badly, and I'm thrilled that we finally have it. And it's cool that it has it for friendship too and not just romance. And of course, there is one final thing in this update that is very long awaited, and that's the big new build feature, curved pools. So the new curved pool feature works very similar to round walls, but it's just with pools instead. So you place a room down and then you can use this to adjust the sizing and kind of customize how you want to fit it all together. And for the first time ever, we can finally curve the edges of pools in The Sims 4. Honestly, I would have rather have had curved pools first and then gotten the rounded walls because I feel like you see curved pools in real life everywhere, especially here in Florida. We have a lot of these like, I'd almost say say bean-shaped pools. That sounds really weird, but this is kind of an example of what I'm talking about. It's rare that like the average person who has a pool will have just a big rectangle. They usually have stuff kind of shaped like this. And rectangle pools do happen, but this is kind of a more common shape where I'm from. We still can't quite make something like this. It can't be quite so organic looking, but at least you can have rounded corners now. You could also make like a heart-shaped pool if you really wanted to. I made one in a penthouse that was kind of arched like this that I thought was pretty cool. So there's a lot of options for different ways to use these. I was really frustrated when I saw the trailer because there was like clipping next to the pool in the trailer. I don't know if you can see this, but watch extremely closely, okay? I'm trying to go back so I can show you what I'm talking about, but for some reason I feel like I don't even see it. Anyway, just trust me, in the trailer at first, there was a part where there was like a gaping hole in the floor, like tearing next to the pool. I have been playing with this for a couple weeks. I haven't seen any tearing with the rounded edges. Definitely seems a lot less buggy than the rounded walls, which makes sense because it's just a pool. I realize it seems kind of scary after how buggy these round walls have been. We're like, oh my god, round again in The Sims. But it's not that bad. It's fine. It's totally fine. And honestly, I'm more willing to accept glitches with the pools anyway than I am with walls because I feel like it affects less. So I'm pretty excited to mess with this. Honestly, I can see myself using this like all the time. I really like this as a pool shape. I just think it's a little bit nicer looking than a regular old rectangle. Unfortunately, these pool trims are not base game. Those are from the pack. I really wish that we had another base game pool trim. As far as build mode goes, there's not really anything new in the base game in this update, and I think that pretty much covers all of the major new content, aside from, of course, all of the new bug fixes coming out in this patch. So recently they've been posting these things called laundry lists, which are kind of like to-do lists almost of their priority bugs to be fixed in the next patch. You have to kind of look at these loosely because it's just them showing off the main things they're focusing on. It's not the only things they're focusing on. And it also doesn't always mean they're going to actually get to everything in time, but this is this most recent laundry list, and they actually just expanded the team who works on these, so the laundry lists are like triple the size of how they used to be, and I'm not exaggerating. You'll see just how long this list is. It goes on and on and on. They used to be, honestly, the size of just the base game one, or maybe less than just this base game list. So as a fan of The Sims, this is wild to look at. You might also notice how a lot of these things are links, and that's because these are linked to the forum posts on the Answers HQ where people first reported the bugs. And this can range from small things to like random assets being transparent when they're not supposed to be, things being improperly tagged in new packs, to maybe some bigger bugs like foxes will no longer appear and manage households looking like creepy rag dolls. Sometimes the wording on these is kind of funny to read. Like, look at this. Professors will no longer run away when attempting to take them on a date. That's an actual bug, like a bug that's actually being fixed. So it's kind of fun to read through. There's a lot of stuff about routing and weird visual glitches on here too. And actually, as we speak, the update is officially downloading in my real game. Oh, the suspense is killing me. I'm so excited about this. I timed that pretty well because we finished recording everything else like right as the update dropped. So it's officially out now. Of course, your mods are going to be auto disabled. And if you've got mods, things like script mods, UI cheats, MC Command Center, the more CAS columns mod, a lot of those bigger script mods, they are all going to be broken when this update comes out. I can almost guarantee it. So what you're going to want to do is delete those big mods and then reinstall them once the creators have posted updated versions. So just be checking their social medias. It's hard to say what else might be broken because it could be anything. Mostly CAS stuff is usually fine, like hairs and shirts, but I think eyelashes are probably going to have some issues with this update as well. So I'm warning you now. If you open your game and you're like, oh my god, the whole thing is broken, I can't see anything, it's probably UI cheats. It's almost always UI cheats. Oh, there is one other thing. This is kind of fun for creators specifically, but there's a new option to enable only safe for streaming music. So you'll see a lot of it is not safe for streaming. Oh my god. It disables like almost everything on the radio, and that's because these are all songs that are copywritten. But basically with that setting, it'll only play songs that have that little asterisk mark next to them. And that means that I can turn the radio on in my Sims house and I won't get copyright strikes. So I can finally have radio music in game. Like when we were playing with Horse Ranch, oh, there's only one song that works, but that's fine. When I was playing with Horse Ranch and I was having them square dance, I had to have the music muted. So it was really weird and kind of cringe watching them dance like that because they were just dancing silently. And then my comments were like, oh my god, the horse ranch stuff is so awkward. And I was like, I swear it's not that bad. It's just me because I have the audio muted. But we've got a cool new safe for streaming setting, so I'm excited about that. Most of you don't need that, but I need that, so I'm pretty pleased. Normally I'd sit here and wait for the patch notes, but thankfully I kind of already knew what was coming in this update because I had a chance to play with it for a long time. So I might just wrap up the video here and I'll link the patch notes for you once they're officially out. If I missed any major bug fixes, let me know in the comments down below so we can all discuss them. And also, I'm gonna be live tonight on my Twitch channel playing Sims. We'll have early access to the pack. We can talk about the update some more. And I'm gonna be live all weekend playing with the pack if that interests you at all, because this weekend is our big Simmers for Palestine fundraiser. So thank you again in advance for all of your help with that. I'm gonna link some info down below and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow. Okay, bye everybody. Oh, my cat has been in here the entire recording. So if you saw like little movement on the cat tree next to me, that's just Snap. You can basically just see one foot and her tail in the footage. She's like slightly on camera.